Today we are going to be discussing the what, the why, and the how of design thinking. To give a general outline of design thinking, we will turn to the president and CEO of the design-based innovation company, IDEO. Tim Brown states that design thinking is a human-centered approach to innovation that draws from the designer's toolkit to integrate the needs of people, the possibilities of technology, and the requirements for business success. By focusing on a design process that places human needs as equally as important to business success, innovation results in products that will truly make a positive impact on human lives. How can we go about creating a product tailored to fit human needs and produce economic success? The answer lies in the design process itself. The design process always begins with a stage of empathy and/or discovery. In this stage, designers go directly to those who have an interest in the design problem, such as business stakeholders and individual consumers, or those affected by the problem. Through observing and engaging with these individuals, the designers are able to understand the problem from a multitude of perspectives, and therefore will be able to incorporate various needs into the later stages of the process. In the next stage, define, the data collected in the empathy and/or discovery phase is reported back to the team. In response, the design team analyzes the data and determines a clear problem statement that takes into account all stakeholders. This problem likely differs or is more specific than the problem which sparked the empathy and/or discovery phase. What follows is the stage of ideation, whereby the team begins brainstorming ideas regardless of whether their ideas seem realistic or not. Then the team may put restrictions on the ideas, such as available resources. In response, the team will refine their ideas and thoughts accordingly. Next, the team will make a prototype of their idea. In order to ensure usefulness and quality of the prototype will undergo a testing phase. In response to testing, the prototype can be further refined due to issues observed during testing. The process of testing and refining can continue until a time when the product meets the needs of both businesses and human stakeholders. In the end, design thinking is more of a circular process that allows for the testing and retesting and refining of ideas to create the best possible product. Now that we know the key aspects of design thinking, we should perhaps ask ourselves which mindsets are needed to foster design thinking, or what mindsets are fostered through an internalization of the design process. Design thinking works best with those who 1. Embrace ambiguity. 2. Exhibit empathy. 3. Center their designs around human need. 4. Iterate, or accept that no one solution will be the answer. 5. Learn from failure. 6. Follow the design process. 7. Display optimism. 8. Are open to radical collaboration where no one person's ideas are superior. 9. Are willing to take thoughts and translate them into tangible forms. Not only does design thinking flourish under these conditions, but repeated use of the design process can help form these mindsets. These are all mindsets needed to be successful in our 21st century world. So this begs the question, how common is design thinking in schools? This map shows the distribution of design schools throughout the globe. As can be seen, Canada is relatively lacking in designated design schools in comparison to other parts of the world. Why are we not seeing design thinking taking place across whole school curricula in Canada? 1. Standardized tests. In Alberta, the presence of standardized examinations every 3 years puts a lot of pressure on educators to focus on curriculum content delivery, and less so on the processes and critical thinking skills of design thinking. These skills are not emphasized and therefore do not seem to be as valuable in regards to content on the exams, and therefore students and teachers do not readily engage in something that does not appear to be worth marks or relevant to them. 2. Culture of a fixed mindset. There exists a culture within society and within students' minds that intelligence is something you either have or you do not have, as opposed to something cultivated over time and under specific conditions. The lack of a growth mindset in students and perhaps parents creates a culture whereby students do not feel comfortable with ambiguity or with learning from mistakes, both of which are key to the design process. 3. Traditional learning norms. There are still norms associated with learning and teaching that are reminiscent of the factory model of education. This model is slowly changing, with some resistance due to the norm of students as the receivers of knowledge instead of creators and contributors in the knowledge-building process. 4. Resources. The prototyping phase of the design process often requires access to resources and advanced technology, which can become expensive or difficult to access. This stands as an obstacle for both students, teachers, and administrators. Ultimately, I believe that design thinking will be embraced as we move toward a more inclusive model of education that embraces diverse ways of knowing and being. The strength of design thinking is its emphasis on empathy, which will allow us to face our current world issues with commitment to compassion and human need. Thank you to CBE and Stanford's D School for their images and the information that was used in this presentation on design thinking.